Hey Dungebags, what's going on? It's Landon Remixes here, and it is time for my review of the 7th or so EP from Draper. This one is called Luminous. I'm not going to go off a ton talking about, oh wow, this EP is not released on Monstercat, because really, that's no surprise considering Draper's only released one EP on Monstercat, and that was Perspectives, which was 3 years ago, still very early into Draper's career. More recently, Draper has made it onto Circus, which is, of course, Flux Pavilion's label, and he's achieved a moderate amount of success with it, even given the opportunity to remix Emotional by Flux Pavilion and Matthew Coma. I am going to throw the bait in, though, this time, because I am really questioning why the label didn't pick this one up, or maybe he didn't want it to be picked up, but honestly that's just because this is probably my favorite work Draper has done. And in the instance of the pilot EP, that was a little bit of a different situation. Draper has released a ton of music, most of which I've absolutely adored, and this is just completely in another vein. I honestly think most of the content on this EP in particular is better than a lot of the content he's released on Monstercat, and that wasn't necessarily the case with the Ambito EP, which I think I either reviewed at the end of 2015 or early 2016, one of those two, and I gave that EP pretty high regards, but I think this EP is on another level entirely. And it's not like this EP is anything spectacular in terms of innovation, it's just that the quality that this thing brings is so much more insane than anything Draper has ever done before. Like seriously, this EP sounds like straight pop music. Of course, being still influenced by EDM, there's a lot of indie dance type of stuff on this EP, but for the most part I'd say it's definitely in like the pop EDM vein, and some of these songs even sound like some of the radio singles Tritonal and the Enhanced guys have been putting out recently, some of the bigger hits. In fact, I feel songs like Heartbeat Close on this EP take some of the soul that Tritonal had on that album and combines it with a lot of the vocal chop sounds that they used on that album. And I'm not necessarily saying that Draper is completely ripping off Tritonal, because he's not. That's just a popular sound in pop EDM right now, and I think he pulls it off very well. And while we're on the subject of soul, I really do feel like the genre is a driving force on this EP, especially on the lead single Jealous featuring Phoebe Diamond, a song that I regretfully didn't check out until 2/3 side project Luther remixed it, and of course I ended up liking the original quite a bit more. There is so much to love in the content of this EP, especially on Jealous. And like I said, it's not like Draper is being overwhelmingly innovative or anything like that. Of course, indie pop, indie dance, indie-tronic music has been around for quite a while, but just the way that Draper really combines different genres together on this EP is really impressive, especially on this one, combining indie dance with soul. Just really like the way he put those together. Another solid example, the first track on this EP, Want You More. I feel like it kind of takes Madion's old sound before he really went straight up the indie-tronic alley, kind of takes that sound when he was still doing electro house, of course. You can especially hear that in the chords. Kind of takes that, combines it with pop, and then furthermore combines that with like kind of a deep pop house sound. And really these influences from those other genres truly shine on this EP, and you've got influences even from rock on songs like IOU, which in terms of the beats and the vocals really sound like it could be kind of a rock track, and then of course we get the electronic influence as well there. And then of course we've got the EP's closer, Who Are You, with the kind of soft rock band Sykes, who has actually done music with Draper before. Though I feel like the mixing on this track was a little bit muddy, which for me didn't match up to the rest of the EP, just kind of seemed like an outlier on that aspect, so it served as a little bit weird of a closer. I'd probably stand alone. I'd probably prefer this over the last track that Draper and Sykes did together, Ready For Us, which was a Monstercat release. And of course, because of that pop force driving this EP, some of the lyrics on this thing are going to be a little bit cheesy and drawn out. Of course, on songs like Reaction, featuring Milk, of all singers, the lyrics are some of the cheesiest, and the rhymes seem a little bit forced. But of course that's part of where Draper's trying to go with making that catchy pop music, and that made this EP to be pretty enjoyable, other than, of course, in that lyrical, which is a big portion of this EP, just because so much of it is vocal driven. In fact, every single track is vocal driven, unlike Ambito was. But that's just the direction Draper's going, and I'd really like to see him hit big on the radio because these songs really deserve to get that play. In fact, I could see songs like Jealous hitting it really big, and I just don't understand why it hasn't, because they bring a certain amount of uniqueness, they bring that electronic influence, and they bring that pop sound, something that I can really get down with. Of course, I don't think there was a single dud on this EP. There was a lot of really enjoyable stuff, a couple really cheesy moments, a couple spots where, of course, I already mentioned the influence seems to be a little bit too prevalent, but overall this was a really solid EP, and like I said, my favorite collection of work Draper has done thus far, which is saying a lot considering how much music he's released in his career. Just so much big music in this one tiny package. What is there not to love? For Luminous, I am feeling a strong 7.5 to a light 8. I would definitely suggest you guys check this one out. Like I've already praised it so much, so obviously you knew my suggestion was going to come. But as always, I have the Spotify link in the description. If you guys are avid Monstercat fans and haven't checked this one out, I definitely would suggest you would, especially if you've liked the content that Draper has been putting out on the label, because in my opinion, this is better than most of the stuff that he has put out there. But if you have listened to the EP already, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. As always, I'm Landon Remixes. That has never changed. I'll see you guys later. Peace.